Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas came out firmly against modern medicine this week when he wrote an opinion after the court decided not to take up a religious challenge to New York State's health worker vaccine mandate. Now, just a little background on that case. Obviously, as most people know, the state of New York had a vaccine mandate in place for healthcare workers. Several of them sued saying, hey, it's against my religion. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, we're not even going to touch that. It can stand. Well, Clarence Thomas wrote a dissent, and he said that, of course, these people can object because those darn vaccines were made using the tissues of aborted children, is the phrase he used, aborted children. So not only is he wrong about that, by the way, and I'll get into that, he's wrong on a technicality, so it's a little bit of a gray area. But he's also, by saying you can't have this because it has aborted children in it, coming out against really all modern medicine. So when I say he's wrong on a technicality, they did use lines of fetal stem cells in the production and the development of these vaccines. These were elected abortions, some of which have been on ice literally for more than 50 years. And what they did was they took the stem cells from those aborted fetuses, and then those cells began to replicate and replicate and replicate, and then the replicated cells are the ones they use for the development. So technically, it's not directly from the aborted fetus, it's from the line of cells created from the aborted fetus. So that's why I say he's wrong on a technicality. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay? A lot of people have been focusing on that, and it's like, that's not even really the issue here. Because technically those cells did still come from that. They just replicated since then. Here's the problem though. Nearly all modern pharmaceutical developments use these kinds of stem cells, fetal stem cells. So if Clarence Thomas believes that you should not have to take a vaccine because of this, then that would also mean, guess what? You got to give up your Tylenol. You got to give up your Mucinex. You know, most over-the-counter drugs, Benadryl was developed like that. So you can't have those anymore. And anything behind that pharmacy counter, forget it, folks. You're not getting 99% of what's back there if you object to the use of fetal stem cells. You may not like it, but that is one of the best ways to test the effects of these drugs, the efficacy of these drugs, prior to putting them inside of a living, breathing human being. That's how modern science works. And that's, of course, when we had this, ban during the Bush administration years, that's why the United States fell so far behind so many other countries that didn't have these bans. We allowed South Korea to basically become one of the leaders in scientific research using fetal stem cells. Hell, Cuba has developed a frickin' lung cancer vaccine that's actually been out on the market in Cuba for many years now. We won't, of course, allow importation of that into the United States. We're also not technically allowed to go down there and get it. But while we were banning this, while we were wringing our hands and acting like, oh no, we can't do this, other countries seized on those opportunities and have made medical advancements that the United States could only dream of. And it's because of people like Clarence Thomas. And not to mention the fact that even the Catholic Church, right, one of the biggest anti-abortion groups in the country, even the Catholic Church has come out and said, hey, even though we used fetal stem cells, it was still developed for the greater good, so we're totally cool if our members want to get it. So not only is Clarence Thomas wrong about the science, but he's also wrong about the whole religious angle, because even religious institutions have said, no, actually, we're okay with it. So everything Clarence Thomas said was wrong, which is pretty much par for the course for Clarence Thomas. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.